Shout it out. I can't hear a word you say. But I can't hear a word you say. I'm talking loud, not saying much. I'm talking loud, not saying much. Criticized, but all your bullets ricochet. You shoot me down, but I get up. I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Fire away, fire away. Ricochet, you take your aim. Fire away, fire away. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. Me down, but it's you who have further to fall. Ghost towns and none to love. You raise your voice. These sticks and stones may break my bones, but I'm talking loud, not saying much. Bulletproof, nothing to lose. Fire away, fire away. Ricochet, just take your aim. Fire away, fire away. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. Titanium, stone hard, machine gun, firing at the ones who run. Stone hard, his bulletproof I'm
everyone, welcome back to Six Questions with Alona. That's me. Hi. Today we have with us Cruz, one of our amazing faculty choreographers.
That's me.
Yay. So first question is, when did you start choreographing and putting works on stage at like a college level, or when do you kind of feel that that ride started taking off for you?
So I was a studio dancer for many years, and still sometimes do. But for a good 16 years of choreographing in studios and going to competitions and doing that, that whole competitive scene, which was great. Always had a good time. It was always a great way to get kids structure and discipline and kind of really get their feet wet in terms of learning, movement vocabulary. But I really was missing the academic component, which I really enjoy. I enjoy teaching about history and composition technique, performance qualities, and really having time to workshop material and help get that whole the production together and working with different choreographers and it's just a different experience. Dancing is always going to be dancing no matter where you are, but when you can start implementing critical thinking in terms of how dance affects identity, how dance affects inclusivity or doesn't, and you start looking into these deeper cultural issues within dance, is not always something that you can do when you're at the studio level, because you have such a concentrated amount of time. Not that they wouldn't be welcome, but it's just you have such a limited amount of time that it's really just about getting the training out and that end product, especially if you're doing a show or if you're going to competition and stuff. So that's how it kind of evolved into getting into higher education.
So let's talk a little bit about your movement style and how you choreograph, because your background is obviously diverse in movement styles. So what do you like to call what you do?
A lot of people say it's a Cruz piece. Yeah, I don't like the boxes of it has to be a certain thing, or put into a specific category. I think all movement styles help represent a mood or an emotion. Sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's hard, sometimes and being able to have a wide range of dance styles under your belt allows you to kind of play with different movement combinations and how you can make them fit. Again, we're talking about choreography it's like a big puzzle. Being able to utilize different dance cultures to help produce what you're ultimately trying to say is really big. It's a tool that is very it's probably at the top of my list in terms of, am I going to make this strictly like street jazz or strictly hip hop, or or I'm going to switch it from a harder hip hop and kind of merge it into a little bit of a jazzy and then bring it back into a hip hop. So it's fun for me because you're still got to make sure that it makes sense. That you're not just whipping out these different styles randomly and at different times, but I do think that it can help deliver a theme if you're using one genre to help, delineate what you're trying to say here, and another genre if you're trying to delineate something here, and then how do you bring that together, if that's what you're trying to do.
That was really evident in this piece for The Loss of Time. Because you dramatically did two very different styles in the same piece. So yeah, absolutely. You kind of use them for what they are meant to be used for, which was cool. What are some of the benefits you see for dancers doing performances and dancing at the college academic level instead of like the competition, how you're saying it's a little bit shorter? What benefits are you seeing dancers get at the college level?
I'll start by saying what I think is great about both really quick is that you're going to get a sense of that community, which is just great for both both, you know, no matter where you go, is to try to find your dance family that I call, you know, your dance home. The one thing that I do think that is different when you start doing dance in a higher education setting is, like I said, you're going to have the experience of getting some of that background knowledge that you may not get so much at a studio. History, you know, cultural aspects, even like we were talking about political aspects, aspects about the self and the body in terms of identity, in terms of how to use space and what does that really mean? How does that all translate when you go out into the real world? You know, it's you can give the experience of dance with its history and everything, and then apply it to real world situations where we kind of see how dance is really integrated into a lot of what we do on a daily basis. When you're talking about gestural movement, when you're talking about body language and how we're sending messages and how we do call and response every day, we're doing this. We're seeing the information and giving it back, and seeing information and giving it back, and it's a dance, right? We do a dance all day long with different people and depending on in the situations we're in. So I think it just expands that knowledge of dance, and it opens up more doors to look at how complex and how wonderful dance is.
Yeah, definitely. So question 4 is, let's dive into the storyline of this piece.
Yes, this piece is very, very personal. But I think the general overall theme for me was wanting to create something that represented this idea that there's been a lot of loss. You know, there's just been a lot of loss over the last couple of years. And now, especially when we have a war going on top of everything that's been happening, it's just been a little bit surreal to see close friends of mine pass away, to see you know, so many people that unfortunately passed because of COVID, and then all of those that seemingly, and this is an interesting kind of sidebar note, is that realizing that so many people that were not able to get into a doctor's office because of COVID prolonged a lot of diagnoses for people who needed it, and therefore, unfortunately, now 2 years later are suffering the consequences of that. You know, whether it's, oh, we didn't catch this early enough, or you've been sick for a long time but we didn't know. So it's just been a culmination of a lot of loss I have felt, and so I wanted to pay a little tribute to all of those who have felt so heartbroken and their lives have been shattered because of these losses. So I wanted to pay respects to that, and at the same time I wanted to give a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel with this one, in that, you know, as unfortunate and as horrible it is to have been a victim or be someone who knows somebody that is no longer with us, how there's still so much to celebrate in addition to the sadness. There is a lightness and a kind of freeing, you know, depending on, you know, what your belief system is. And I'm certainly not here to sway one way or another, but to, you know, whatever is next for those who believe in a next, that life is okay. Like we buckle down and we go through what we have to go through. And for me, the best way to honor those that have passed is to live even fuller, because they, you know, we take for granted living sometimes, you know, and we think that it's a burden to be here until we've lost someone and realize what a gift it is to be able to wake up and choose to do, or to move around and to do what you love to do, and to affect other people, and to keep being productive, and to keep, you know, fighting for whatever it is you're fighting for, you know, whatever dream that it is, whatever your goal is, whatever your intent is, you know, keep going after it, you know, keep pounding the pavement as hard as it can be. So that's where we're combining the two choreographic styles again really helped me delineate that. So I was able, use softer jazz lyrical movement, a little bit of modern movement, if I may say, and then for the more productive and celebration, I use more hip hop floor work space, cipher work, that really highlighted the individual and the support system, that we all, if we come together more than we have been lately, regardless of our differences, that we can still be humane, and we should still be humane, and see, and if somebody needs some help, man, just, you don't have to agree with someone to help them out and to help them get ahead in their own life. It's like, I don't understand this idea that if you don't agree with me, then I will reach out only for those who do.
Yeah.
No, you can have differences, and if you and I have a difference, it doesn't mean that if I can't help you that I won't. It just means that we have differences.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I still wish you, meaning the proverbial you, the best in your ideologies and what it is that you're striving for, and I do the same. But so that's what that piece was trying to get at, and I really felt the dancers committed themselves so much to this idea and theme that was a lot of talking, a lot of conversations, a lot of, we did a lot of diving, and I think the audience really got that sense of it. I mean, when I watched it, it was so heartfelt, and there was so much integrity, because I felt that everybody was on the same page, and getting everybody on that same page just really sent out this really positive, warm feeling, and it was really, really nice. And I think that the dancers were able to I'm hoping that the dancers were able to see what I tried to say is, you have affect, you have the power to affect people, and to kind of help shift the perspective that we don't always have to be on the same page to have these feelings of uplifting one another, and celebrating that we're different, not that we're the same. So it was a long one. It was a good one. It was one that I like I said, we were all fully invested in that, and I think that was a special piece for us all in that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about how costumes played a role, lights, and also for you, video work. How did those aspects kind of add to your piece?
Yeah, I'm going to go backwards on this. I'll start with the video, because I love to use video in a lot of my work, and I really wanted to scale back this time around with the video, and let the dance and the vocabulary deliver the message versus I wanted the video to be kind of the cherry on top, but certainly not the driving force behind what the narrative of the piece was. So it just kind of set a tone. I just wanted something to help set a tone and to help give these images that I think everyone is familiar with, that help really kind of cement the idea. So not as much video, but I think sometimes, we hear the saying, sometimes less is more. And I think that in this particular case, as I didn't use a lot of video, but I think that was very poignant in helping deliver that, putting that little stamp as to where we were in the piece and what I was trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. What costume and lighting? Any thoughts?
Yeah, costumes were a mess. I wasn't
going to say that. You said that.
I am so glad that I had a first idea, and it quickly dissolved into like, no, we can't do that. And I'm so glad it did, because again, less is more kind of process with the costumes. It was as much as I try for it to be subtle, it can sometimes be a little bit loud. And so with the help of our costume designer, Kristol at IVC, wonderful, she kind of saved me. And
she always says that day that Christina is the best.
Yeah, Christina, I'm sorry. Yeah, she just understood what I was trying to say, but I just don't always, what I say and then what I deliver sometimes doesn't match in terms of costuming. So she was able to kind of help guide me through a softer look, and I was so happy with it. I was so happy with it. So I give her all the credit for that one.
She deserves it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Lighting for this piece was more intricate as well. And so I can appreciate our lighting designer, Krystal.
There we go.
For jumping on the ride. Krystal's always been really mindful of, as well as Christina, actually, they both are very mindful of, okay, so what are you trying to say with the piece, and how can I help say that with the lights, or how can I help, deliver that your vision through, the costumes and the lighting. And so they were very meticulous and took their time, and we tried a couple things, and yeah, this piece definitely went from it took us on a little bit of a journey from, lighting that's special in the house, and then going to a blackout, and then going to the stage and with really dim lights. And there was a couple of moments where we went to all black, and then went to brights, and then being able to go between the lighting into the video. It was, yeah, she did an absolutely beautiful job in making the lights dance with the piece. It for me didn't feel like lighting per se. It felt like a dance on top of a dance. And that is a, a testament to the talent that she has, and that she was able to help support the theme of the piece through that. So I'm very appreciative. I was very, very happy. I think we all were. It was very collaborative, probably the most collaborative piece in terms of not just choreography, but the different styles of music, and getting ideas from colleagues, and what does this look like to you, and having the lighting designer and the costume designer really having some input. And yeah, it felt very, very collaborative, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun when you when you let your colleagues step in and let them do what they do best.
Yeah.
And just take, not a back seat, but definitely take the time to let them do their art and their craft to their best ability, and where we can all meet. And it didn't take us very long to get on the same page. So that was wonderful. It was a great experience.
Any advice for students interested in coming to and dancing with us at IVC?
Yeah, I would always encourage any level dancer to come and try the program. This last semester specifically too, in my hip hop class, I had a lot of dancers who had never taken a class before and started the course so nervous.
Yeah.
I felt for them and just it's gonna be all right. Like, I can appreciate the intensity and the passion in which they came to class. But I just tell everyone's coming in on with a different experiences behind their belt, and some have zero experience, some have danced for a while, but we can all meet in this idea of trying and doing your best no matter what level you're at. So you come in, again, going back to this idea of trying our dance program, is even if you're a little bit nervous, just get your foot wet, and you'll just realize that it's not so bad, and you might actually enjoy it. Because I don't know anybody who's come into the dance program, gone through the process of taking a class or jumping into a technique class, and then auditioning, and then all of a sudden they're in a piece, and they're on stage, and the experience for many of them are like, this was amazing. This was wow. Like, we got to see the whole workings of how a show gets put together. And even if they never do it again, they certainly walk away with having it be an experience that they'll never forget.
Absolutely.
And so it doesn't have to be that it's going to be what you choose to do for the rest of your life. It's just about having a wonderful experience in art, regardless of past experience or no past experience. This is the place to actually gain experience. Let this be your first place. And we welcome that wholeheartedly. Yes. Yeah,
absolutely, we do. Awesome. Thank you so much, Cruz.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll see everyone next time.